Hello. Hi. How are you doing? Thank you, listeners, for listening to Jonthan Seagull. This book is a very interesting and wonderful book, and that is the reason why I decided to make it into different parts and present to my beautiful audience. I believe that these books, like Jonathan Livingston Seagull, should be encouraged to be read by children and every family member to know what it means, the sight of flight. Well, I have already described part 1 in my channel, then we have entered into part 2, and now we are going for a closure of part 2. Till now, what has happened is Jonthan Seagull is a very simple seagull who was standing on the ground near the beach watching the other seagulls and looking at the sky wanting to fly. He learned flying. The moment he learned flying, he was outcast by his flock, so he was asked to leave his flock and go and stay in far cliff. So Jonathan went to the far cliff and spent all his days alone there. While spending his time in the far off cliff, 2 visitors came to visit Jonathan. They were from heaven, according to Jonathan. These 2 visitors took Jonathan to a new world, and Jonathan was quite surprised that what would be stored in the new world. And when he reached the new world, which he thought was heaven, he saw that the new world is filled up with more opportunities of flying, and not only flying, a very advanced way of flying. All the kind of flights which he had ever imagined were possible in that place. He was handed over to an instructor, and the instructors helped Jonathan to learn flying further. Slowly and slowly, Jonathan was able to forget the memories of his past life, which he thought was on earth, and slowly he started learning new tricks for the new life which he continued. In this journey, he met many good flyers. Of them, he met a flyer named as Chang, who was the eldest member of the flock in heaven. And Mr. Chang helped Jonathan to understand the flight and the speed of flight. He helped him to understand that people who just think of different kinds of flight and give numbers to the flight do not reach anywhere but the numbers. But Chang was able to explain Jonathan the power of his unlimited wings, the power of his unlimited force, only if Jonathan could understand in his mind. So shall we enter the last part of the chapter 2? Let's go in. Jonathan was dazzled. He forgot to ask about heaven. How do you do that? What does it feel like? How far can you go? You can go any place and to any time that you wish to go, the elder said. I have gone everywhere and everywhen I can think of. He looked across the sea. It's strange. The girls who scorn perfection for the sake of travel go nowhere slowly. Those who put aside travel for the sake of perfection go anywhere instantly. Remember, Jonathan, heaven isn't a place or a time, because place and time are so meaningless. Heaven is meaningful. Can you teach me to fly like that? Jonthan Seagull trembled to conquer another unknown. Of course, if you wish to learn. I wish. When can we start? We could start now, if you'd like. I want to learn to fly like that, Jonathan said, and a strange light glowed in his eyes. Tell me what to do. Chang spoke slowly and watched the younger girl even so carefully. To fly as fast as thought, to anywhere that is, he said, you must begin by knowing that you have already arrived. Wow, wow, wow. Just see the beautiful line, my friends, here. To start the journey, what Chang says to Jonathan is to understand that you need to start with the determination, and with the thought that you have already arrived. Isn't it true? When we start a new endeavor, our minds are filled up with doubts whether we'll be able to cover the journey, whether you will be able to complete the task. But here, the lesson to be learnt is you have to start thinking that you have already arrived. Everything that you dream of has actually been achieved by you. When your vision, when your thought, when your frequency, when your vibration, everything vibrates with the fact that you are capable of achieving what you are dreaming, then you will definitely be able to achieve your dream. And that is what is being highlighted here by Chang, the elderly one in heaven, according to Jonthan. Chang spoke slowly and watched the younger girl carefully. The trick, according to Chang, was for Jonthan to stop seeing himself as trapped inside a limited body that had 42-inch wingspan and performance that could be plotted on a chart. The trick was to know that his nature lived as perfect as an unwritten number, everywhere at once across space and time. Jonthan kept at it fiercely day after day, from before sunrise till past midnight, and for all his effort, he moved out a feather width from his spot. Forget about faith, Chang said it time and again. You didn't need faith to fly, you needed to understand flying. This is just the same. Now try again. Then one day, Jonthan, standing on the shore, closing his eyes, concentrating, all in a flash, knew what Chang had been telling him. Why, that's true, I'm perfect, unlimited girl. He felt a great shock of joy. Good, said Chang, and there was victory in his voice. Jonthan opened his eyes. He stood alone with the elder on a totally different seashore, trees down to the water's edge, twin yellow suns turning overhead. At last you have got the idea, Chang said, but your control needs a little work. Jonthan was stunned. Where are we? Utterly unimpressed with the strange surroundings, the elder brushed and question aside. We are on some planet, obviously, with a green sky and a double star for a sun. Jonthan made a scream of delight, the first sound he had made since he had left the earth. It works! It works! Well, of course it works, John, said Chang. It always works when you know what you are doing. Now, about your control. By the time they returned, it was dark. The other girls looked at Jonthan with awe in their golden eyes, for they had seen him disappear where he had been rooted for so long. He stood there, congratulations, for less than a minute. I'm a newcomer here. I'm just beginning. It is I who must learn from you. I wonder about that, John, said Sullivan, standing near. You have less fear of learning than any girl I have seen in 10,000 years. The flock fell silent, and Jonthan fidgeted in embarrassment. We can start working with time if you wish, Chang said, till you can fly the past and the future, and then you'll be ready to begin the most difficult, the most powerful, the most fun of all. You'll be ready to begin to fly up and know the meaning of kindness and love. A month went by, or something that felt about like a month, and Jonthan learned at a tremendous rate. He always had learned quickly from ordinary experience, and now the special student of the elder himself, he took in new ideas like a streamlined feathered computer. But then the day came that Chang vanished. He had been talking quietly with them all, exhorting them never to stop their learning and their practicing and their striving to understand more of the perfect invisible principle of all life. Then as he spoke, his feathers went brighter and brighter, and at last turned so brilliant that no girl could look upon him. Jonthan, he said, and these were the last words that he spoke, keep working on love. When they could see again, Chang was gone. As the days went past, Jonthan found himself thinking time and again of the earth from which he had come. If he had known that just a tenth, just a hundredth of what he knew here, how much more life would have meant. He stood on the sand and fell to wondering if there was a girl back there who might be struggling to break out his limits, to see the meaning of flight beyond a way of travel, to get a breadcrumb from a rowboat. Perhaps there might even have been one made outcast for speaking his truth in the face of the flock. And the more Jonthan practiced his kindness lessons, the more he worked to know the nature of love, the more he wanted to go back to earth. For in spite of his lonely past, Jonthan Seagull was born to be an instructor, and his only way of demonstrating love was to give something of the truth that he had seen to a girl who asked only a chance to see the truth himself. Please understand this, my friends. It is such a beautiful lesson which has been quoted here. What happens is Jonthan goes into heaven, and there he learns. He learns so much so that he starts working on other aspects of his thoughts, which is kindness and love. The elderly one, Chang, while leaving heaven, told Jonthan that Jonthan needs to work on his lessons of kindness and love. The more Jonthan worked on kindness, the more he started thinking about his flock. He started thinking, what if there is a flock? What if there is a person in the flock who is thinking like him? What if a girl is thinking completely like him and has been outcast by the flock just by saying his or her feelings to the flock? Should he not go back to earth and start helping that one single flock who wants to fly? Should he not show direction to that one single flock who wants to break through from getting the stale breads from the robot? Should he not go back and help? These thoughts were going inside, outside Jonthan day in and day out, and making him, forcing him to go back to his same place. Although he has been outcast from the flock, what about that single flock who might be waiting for him? Should Jonthan not live his self-respect and go back to the flock and try to find out that one single flock who needs help, even though that single flock may reject him for coming back to him, but should he not give a try? And this made Jonthan feel that these are the lessons of kindness and love a person should learn when he becomes more talented, when he learns his skill more wisely. It is for every person who becomes skilled to try to become an instructor. When you become an instructor, you need to find people who are waiting for you. You need to work towards getting and reaching those people who might be needing your help. In that journey, you might be rejected, you might be discarded, you might be toned off by society, by people, and by many people. But you need to go there to help that one single person who is waiting there for you, who wants your help. Look at all the people. The leaders, they all are trying to send the message to all of us through their various ways so that they reach out to those people who are waiting for them, who are waiting for something to be learned by them. Learn these lessons, my friends. It is important to be talented, but it is also very important to find out people who need your help, to pass on the talent to others in form of instructor. And this is the place where we end the part 2 completely. And now Jonthan is ready again to go back to earth from where he was thrown out, but he's again ready to give what he has learnt, the lessons of love and kindness, to each and every flock member who might be waiting for Jonthan. This is a wonderful book, my friend. I still request you go back and read this book by Richard Buck, Jonthan Livingston Seagull. Thank you. I will be entering chapter 3 now with a lot of enthusiasm. I look forward for all of you to join me in this journey. Take care. Bye-bye.